I never thought I'd be alive to see this day. Not only is Synchron back and better than ever before, but for the first time in any Yu-Gi-Oh format, it is also meta-relevant. Crazy, I know! Hey guys, Sonic Smash Bros. Here, and Speed Duel King of Games is finally done for this month with the deck that I know you guys have been wanting me to take a look at ever since Alt Style Yusei got revealed for leaks ages ago. Ever since the new support got revealed, the new skill got revealed, I knew this was my time. Of course, we are finally back on Synchron with some of the best support we have gotten in the context of Duel Links, including the single most broken Synchro monster in the entire game, even in the TCG arguably. Yeah, that should tell you something. Anyway, this is the all-new Crimson Dragon Synchron with the skill of choice, Bonds of the Converging Stars. You can only use the skills, second and third effects, once per duel. First effect, at the beginning of a duel, add Junk Warrior, Stardust Dragon, XL Synchro Stardust Dragon, Formula Synchron, and Shooting Star Dragon to your extra deck. During this duel, you can activate Converging Wishes from your hand, but you cannot normal or special summon any monsters except for Dragon-type Synchro monsters, Warrior Synchro monsters, Junk or Stardust monsters, or Tuner monsters. Second effect, shuffle 2 cards, including at least 1 level 4 Stardust monster or Shining Star Dragon, from your hand into your deck. Play 2 level 4 Stardust monsters from your deck, then add 1 Tuner monster from your deck and 1 Shooting Star from outside of your deck to your hand. And send 2 monsters, specifically Junk Converter and Formula Synchron, outside of your deck to the graveyard. These 2 monsters can also be special summoned. Third and final effect, if you control Crimson Dragon, or if your opponent controls a monster. Out of the 5 Signer Dragons from outside of your deck, play up to 3 in any combination, and send the remaining cards to the graveyard. That is Red Dragon Archfiend, Black Rose Dragon, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Black Winged Dragon, and Lifestream Dragon. These monsters can also be special summoned. Monsters played through this effect, except Lifestream Dragon, will become level 2. There is a plethora of cards in here that I do not play in the deck proper. I'm not going to go over all of them in detail, but I'll mention which ones I don't actually run. Shooting Star Dragon, we get this for free. XL Synchro Stardust Dragon, we get this for free. Junk Warrior, we get this for free. As much as I would love to play the Altar. Formula Synchron, really, the only one that comes up is the one in the graveyard. I don't know why they put this in the extra deck, just saying. Shooting Star, really good trap in this context, but that's about it. Junk Converter, mainly we just want this thing in the graveyard and we get one in the graveyard to begin with, so what's it matter? And the Signer Dragons, Red Dragon Archfiend, Black Rose Dragon, Black Winged Dragon, Ancient Fairy Dragon, which is the problem card because it can search out Necro Valley via its second effect, and Lifestream Dragon. Yeah! They kind of forgot that Ancient Fairy Dragon was limited 1 to stop from searching Necro Valley. Anyway, on to the deck proper, starting with Shining Star Dragon. During your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your hand, quick effect. You can target 1 Dragon-type Synchro monster in your graveyard, special summon this card, and if you do, special summon that monster but negate its effects. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you can Synchro summon 1 Dragon-type Synchro monster using this card you control. You can only use this effect of Shining Star Dragon once per turn. A Dragon-type Synchro monster that was Synchro summoned using this card as Synchro material cannot be destroyed by battle. So, pretty simple. Mainly it's just here to make getting through the skill more consistent, because we also have the main event, the party starter. Triple Stardust Synchron, which took it to the bottom of the box all 3 times for me to get. Yeah, that was painful, but well worth it. Anyway, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you contribute 1 monster, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except for Synchro monsters. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that mentions Stardust Dragon. You can only use each effect of Stardust Synchron once per turn. And now for its partner in crime from the structure deck, Stardust Trail. 3 of these. If a monster you control is tributed, except during the damage step, You can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. If a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust Synchro monster is Synchro summoned by using this card as Synchro material, you can special summon a Stardust token, a level 1, light attribute, Dragon-type monster with 0 attack and defense points. Each effect is once per turn. Next up, we have only the one Junk Synchron, because this is searchable via the skill. When this card is normal summoned, you can target a level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in defense position, but it has its effects negated. That never really matters. We're always bringing back Junk Converter with this thing, and that activates primarily in the graveyard. Hey, get back in there! Anyway, moving right along, up next we have the One Effect Veiler. Yeah, we can search this too. During your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and target one face-up effect monster your opponent controls. That face-up monster your opponent controls has its effects negated until the end of this turn. This is a quick effect. That's it for monsters on the spells and traps, starting with Double Forbidden Droplet. Send any number of other cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard. Choose that many effect monsters your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, their attack is halved, also their effects are negated. In response to this card's activation, your opponent cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the same original type, monster, spell, or trap respectively, as the card you sent to the graveyard to activate this card, and you can only activate one Forbidden Droplet per turn. Very simple, very strong. Next up we have the one Synchro Rumble. Target one Tuner monster or one level 7 or 8 Dragon-type Synchro monster in your graveyard. Special summon it in defense position. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Synchro monsters. If a level 7 or 8 Dragon-type Synchro monsters or Crimson Dragon you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only activate one Synchro Rumble per turn. So, this extender is way too good to pass up. Double Book of Eclipse. Change all face-up monsters on the field to face-down defense position. During the end phase of this turn, with as many face-down defense position monsters your opponent controls as possible face-up. Then, your opponent draws cards equal to the number of monsters put face-up by this effect. Do not expect this to stay in the deck for long. I am more than certain the ban list at some point will prevent us from being able to use this. So do keep that in mind. I'm ready just in case, but it might happen. If not, definitely it will happen. Anyway, triple tuning. Add one Synchron tuner monster from your deck to your hand, then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. If you have multiples of these and you can afford to risk, them not having Droll and Lockbird, prioritize Junk Synchron first, and then start a Synchron. Anyway, on the traps, we got Double Infinite Impermanence. Target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Negate its effects until the end of this turn. Then if this card was set before activation and is on the field at resolution, for the rest of this turn, all their spell and trap card effects in this column are negated. If you control no cards, you can activate this card in your hand. If you don't have these, effect veilers are free now in character deck duels, so that is an option to consider if you don't have Infinite Impermanence. And lastly, Converging Wishes. If you have 5 or more Dragon-type Synchro monsters with different names in your graveyard, special summon one Stardust Dragon from your extra deck that is treated as a Synchro summon, and equip it with this card, but banish it during the end phase. That equipped monster gains attack points equal to the combined attack points of all Dragon-type Synchro monsters in your graveyard. Each time the equipped monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can banish one Dragon-type Synchro monster from your graveyard. That equipped monster can attack an opponent's monster again in a row. This can be an insane win condition from time to time. Do not sleep on this thing. I did for a while. What was I thinking? Anyway, on to the extra deck, starting with Crimson Dragon. If this card is special summoned, you can add one spell or trap card that mentions Crimson Dragon from your deck to your hand. Quick effect. You can target one level 7 or higher Synchro monster on the field except Crimson Dragon, even on your opponent's field. Return this card to the extra deck. And if you do, special summon a Dragon-type Synchro monster from your extra deck with the same level as the targeted monster. This is treated as a Synchro summon. Each effect is once per turn. So this can cheat out any Dragon-type Synchro monster in the game that is level 7 or higher, including another Shooting Quasar Dragon or Red Supernova Dragon. Need I say more? Speaking of which, Red Supernova Dragon must first be Synchro summoned, gains 500 attack points for each tutor monster in your graveyard, and cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, when your opponent's monster effect is activated, or when an opponent's monster declares an attack. Quick effect, you can activate this effect. Banish this card. Also, banish all cards your opponent controls. Once per turn, during your next end phase, after this card was banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card. Do not think you can use this to out Destiny Hero Plasma if it already hits the field. Annoyingly, that won't work. I have tried. Double Shooting Quasar Dragon. Yes, for the first time ever, at least in the context of Duel Links, we are doing double Shooting Quasar Dragon. Must be Synchro Summoned and cannot be Special Summoned by other ways. Maximum number of attacks per battle phase equals the number of non-tutor monsters used to Synchro Summon it. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you have an Omni Negate, and when it leaves the field, you can Special Summon a Shooting Star Dragon from your extra deck. So, double Quasar Imports are really freaking valuable for 2 Omni Negates that otherwise we don't have reliable access to. It's also worth noting you will have to probably choose between the double Quasar or Quasar and Supernova. Usually double Quasar is better, but there will be times where Supernova does come up in some matchups. So do keep that in mind when you decide which one you want to use. Next up we have Stardust Warrior. During either player's turn, if your opponent with special summon monsters not through an effect, you can trigger this card, negate the summons, and if you do, destroy those monsters. During the end phase, if this effect was activated this turn and was not negated, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this face-up card you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 8 or lower Warrior Synchro monster from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro summon. I kind of wish we got this instead of Formula Synchron, since, well, Formula Synchron's added through the graveyard, so we could run Jet Warrior as a float. But, oh well, small price to pay, especially considering everything else we have. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Once per turn during either player's turn, when another monster's effect is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. And if you do that, this card gains attack points equal to the destroyed monster's original attack points until the end of this turn. If this card battles a level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls, during damage calculation, this card gains attack points equal to the current attack points of the opponent's monster it is battling during that damage calculation only. So, Crystal Wing nowadays is more of a going second option because our turn 1 end boards are just way too crazy otherwise. But, it's worth noting, you can use Crimson Dragon to cheat this out by targeting Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon or Lifestream Dragon, or even Stardust Dragon itself, so do keep that in mind. Anyway, double Stardust Dragon. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that destroy a card or cards in the field, you trick this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. During the end phase, if this activated successfully this turn, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, the classic. We run 2 of these, so we have one from the skill for Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, we have one for the combo proper, and then we have one for Converging Wishes to secure games. Like, get back in there! Because we have one more Synchro monster to talk about! Satellite Warrior! If this card is Synchro Summoned, you can target cards your opponent controls, up to the number of Synchro monsters in your graveyard. Destroy them, and if you do, this card gains 1000 attack points for each card destroyed. If this Synchro Summoned card is destroyed, you can special summon up to 3 level 8 or lower Warrior, Synchron, and or Stardust Synchro monsters with different names from your graveyard. Each effect is once per turn. There's a lot of options you can do for the extra deck. There's Ruddy Rose Dragon, in particular that one's really nasty. Do not sleep on this thing because you can actually use Black Rose Dragon so the full board wipe does come up. That's a really nasty one. There's Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier going second. And by proxy, I'm pretty sure you could use Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier if you really wanted to, but not ideal, do keep that in mind. Mainly Trishula Zero for going second is really, really nice. There's a lot of options you can do here. I haven't covered everything this has to offer. That's just how much flexibility this skill has. That's just how much flexibility that this version of Synchron has in particular. Anyway, let's get on to replays. I have got some bonus replays to show to celebrate the return of Synchron. So, let's get right to it. Before we get to the climb proper, come on, did you really think I wouldn't take this opportunity to give some absolute payback to Shadal? Did you really think I wouldn't?
Enter the a duelist.
Okay, yeah, do whatever, buddy.
Duel. It's my turn.
Goes reach it all Wendy.
From my hand, show yourself. I fusion summon a monster. I activate my monster. I activate my monster's effect.
Why you made app cologne, I will never know, but I also, at the same time, sort of get it.
I activate my monster's effect.
Hound will flip Beast face up. I unfortunately kind of have to imperm this to prevent him from getting advantage, except Rush All Incarnation's gonna say no to that.
I activate my monster's effect.
Hedgehog will get Falco for some reason. I forgot about that one. Dark World Dealings. I opt to get rid of Eclipse here, crazy enough. Good to know I would have gotten tuning off the top, but hey, what can you do?
I link summon a monster.
Goes Gravity Controller.
I activate my monster's effect.
And Dogmatica Maximus for some reason. So I opt to send Shooting Star Dragon and Stardust Warrior because those were not going to help me here.
I activate my monster's effect.
Goes for the Schism and the Shaddoll Fusion, fair enough. So I know about El Shaddoll Fusion and Schism. I'm not as concerned with Winda as you'd think I might be. But he goes straight for the window right away. Falco special summons itself face down. And for technically my one special summon per turn. I'll get to that in a moment.
Stardust Synchron activates its effect. Do you really think that will work?
I'm not exactly worried about the Schism here.
Attack, Stardust Synchron. I activate my monster's effect.
Yeah, go right ahead. And now that Winda's off the field,
I haven't given up on the future. I flip over my trap card, Converging Wishes. The hopes
yep.
of the world coalesce into a
Remember how I said do not sleep on Converging Wishes? This is a situation where without it, I wouldn't have taken game, not even close.
Stardust Dragon embodies everyone's hopes and dreams, and it won't let them down. Converging Wishes other effect.
So let's start by banishing Ancient Fairy.
Bear witness to this. Stop right there. Shooting Quasar Dragon's effect.
We'll block the other thing with Quasar. With Squamata. And we'll just keep on swinging. So Quasar can finish the job.
How could as it do?
And now, Utopia. If you know me, you know that I can be a bit cynical when it comes to Utopia, because I swear, most people don't know how to play this. Minus the fact that for whatever reason this guy did not have Steel Swarm Roach in his extra deck, he played this pretty well. I can't really fault him on anything here, except for, well, main deck choices being a little sloppy, but he at least knew the combo, I'll give him that.
A duelist job. With my card, I'm Duel. Here goes. This is how. Set. Here is Zexal. Zexal service. We'll use all. The light of hope reveals limited Varian forces truth. I build the overlay network. I special summon a monster. I activate my monster's effect.
And here we go, the usual combo line. You've seen me do this plenty of times, so no real reason to go over it in full. And hey, he actually knew to break the chain here!
I can add a Zexal weapon in my deck to my hand. I use one overlay unit to activate Utopia Double's effect. I build the overlay network. I activate my monster's effect. activate my monsters. I summon. Here comes. I activate my monsters effect. I set a card.
Not sure why the audio's dying on me, but
I exceed summon a monster. I'll end my turn.
It's go time. My turn. I draw. From my hand, I activate a quick play spell. Yuma.
I know.
So this is what you were going
yeah, he's forcing numbers protection here.
I activate
So,
my counter
this is when
spell.
things get a little bit dicey. I go for the basic part of this first.
Synchro summon. Take flight. Using Stardust Dragon. Since I synchro summoned Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon.
Yeah, he did not want me getting Formula Synchron onto the field.
Monster. Stardust Synchro. I activate Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon's effect. The hopes of the world.
But that does mean this gets to resolve properly for an unaffected Crimson Dragon.
I call upon your aid, Crimson Dragon.
Again, we'll get to that in a moment.
Special summoning Crimson Dragon lets me use this effect. Each card.
So we get the Synchro Rumble here.
I'll rev it up to
Normally you'd grab Ancient Fairy Dragon if you're playing things like Stand Up Centurion or Synchro World and you just search the Necro Valley then and there.
Limit over Excel.
But since I personally don't rely on that, screw that noise.
Activate my monsters effect.
Shooting Quasar Drag Crimson Dragon activates its effect. I'll rev it up to blast through my lip.
Yeah, I just go whatever I feel like. In this case, Red Dragon Archfiend because Jack was with Yusei from the very beginning, and Black Rose Dragon because, actually, if I recall this correctly in the original story writing for 5Ds, Akiza was meant to be the one in the final battle with Yusei and Jack in the Darksiders Zone. I think. I could be misremembering that,
Synchro Summon.
but nonetheless.
Appear, Junk Warrior! Junk Warrior gains the using Junk Converter to Synchro Summon activates its effect. The tutor monster Junk. Okay. Synchro
And so
Summon.
I'm bringing out Crystal Wing for a bit of a reason here.
I activate a spell.
I want to conserve my Stardust Dragons. Why he chose the Tornado Dragon, that of all things, I will never understand.
Shooting Quasar Dragon's effect.
But I had plenty of backup options.
The Synchro.
So, realistically, I would have gone Satellite Warrior here if you let that go through like a smart person.
Excel Synchro. Appear. I set a card. I haven't given up on the.
But since he decided to, you know, do Tornado Dragon there for some reason, I don't know why,
The hopes of the world coalesce into a take flight.
I get to go Stardust Warrior and then hit him with a nearly 24,000 attack point Stardust Dragon. Bonk.
Attack Stardust Dragon. Ah!
We fell.
Growing up.
And now, on to the climb proper. Starting this off not with Red Dragon Archfiend, but with, weirdly enough, Precious Cards of the Dark Unchained Defleur, because there was a Sage Defleur in there you could see. I'm actually questioning what this guy was cooking. And if you can tell by the massive win streak, this literally only took one attempt.
You say Duel. I'm setting a card. Watch this. I activate.
Admittedly, this was a cool idea, I'll give him this.
I special summon a monster. I activate my monster. I activate my trap card. Come on out. Come on out. I activate my monster's effect. Vision Resonator activates when it's sent to the graveyard.
Proceeds to grab the RDA engine of this with Vision Resonator.
This.
Goes for Changing, which is an interesting choice.
My continuous Crimson activate my monsters effect. I set a
Target's changing, so nothing gets destroyed.
I end my it's go time.
That's an interesting idea, I'll give you that, but
A duelist. I'll rev it up to blast through my
let's go
limitations.
straight for
The evolution of life.
shooting Quasar Dragon.
I activate my trap. Shooting Quasar Dragon's effect.
Golem is gonna get blocked.
A duelist.
Send back the Eclipse because I don't need it.
The hopes of the world coalesce into a single. Take flight. My tuner monster. Stardust Synchron activates its effect.
So I go straight for the Stardust Synchron, mainly because, honestly, I didn't need Junk Synchron this go around. Again, we'll get to some of the animations later, because there's plenty of those.
Dragon lets me use this effect. Crimson Dragon activates its effect. I'll rev it up to blast through
Swap
my
into a second Quasar.
The evolution of. Watch this. I special summon a monster from my hand. I activate a quick
Droplet with Trail, so that's not respondable.
I flip over my trap card. Converging wishes. I activate my monster's effect. The hopes of the world coalesce. Take flight.
And an 8. Not 18,000. Is that 18,000? I think that's 18,000. Either way, it's a big Stardust Dragon. Bonk. Goodbye. And now we have Draconic Contact for some reason. This is actually an interesting matchup though for this particular build if you go second. This is the one time where I advise against making Quasar. I actually also advise against playing 3 specific Signer Dragons. Just play Lifestream, one other, and go for the Satellite Warrior. You'll see what I mean.
I'll give it. Witness the. Jaden. I know. Duel. I'll give it.
So, for some reason he has nothing of value here.
I activate the spell card. Polymerization. This will do.
Except he goes for the freaking Neos Kluger for some reason. I don't get that. Really? I know he had Stratos, so he... Wait, or did he top deck that? No, he top decked it, okay. That makes a little more sense. But people, Neos Kluger and the Neos Wiseman package are not good.
End my turn.
If this is all you got, you're gonna see what I mean.
I synchro summon a monster.
Alright, Satellite Warrior, blow him up.
Take to the field. Satellite Warrior. Synchro summoning Satellite Warrior lets me use its effect. My monster buddies and I.
He's forced to Super Poly there, he has no choice.
Check this out.
That's not gonna save you, buddy.
I don't know about that. Neos and Ubel, let's do this.
The Neos Wiseman, here we go. So I send back everything else, just in case, well, I get drolled.
Take flight. Using Stardust, I'm counting. Stardust Synchro, my tuner monster. Synchro Summon. I call upon your aid. Special summoning Crimson Dragon lets me use this effect. I activate my spell card. Tuning. The tuner monster jumps.
And now Junk Synchron is gonna pivot in.
Jump converter.
Because we don't have much in the way of a Dragon Synchro monster worth anything on the field right now. Let's fix that, shall we?
Junk Warrior using Jump Converter to Synchro Summon activates its effect. The tuner monster Junk Synchro Summon. Take flight. Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. Since I sync Crimson Dragon activates its effect. I know.
Let's pivot into Crystal Wing.
Synchro Summon. The Synchro. I activate Excel Synchro. The hopes of the world coalesce into a.
And we go Excel Synchro Stardust as we usually do. But in this case,
spread your wings and soar to new heights. Be transformed by the winds of destiny. Excel Synchro.
Yeah, I'm flexing on this guy. Clear Mind, Excel Synchro, Shooting Star Dragon.
Up here, Shooting Star Dragon.
Is there a point to this? Absolutely not. Do I care? Absolutely not. He's gonna get bonked by Stardust Dragon anyway.
From my hand, I activate a spell. Take flight. You're losers. No matter.
Yeah, I was more than ready to set up a board presence in case for whatever reason he survived. Yeah? Don't ask. Anyway, up next is the Synchron Mirror. Versus, as you can see, somebody who has pretty much carried the legend by the skill. Watch and learn, my guy. This is how you do it. I've been doing this for 7 years, 5 in Duel Links, going on my 6th as of this particular video. Well, this is basically the 6th year, just in general.
With my cards.
Watch and learn.
Each card has...
So for the main combo, all you need is
it's my turn.
Stardust Synchron, Stardust Trail, Shining Star Dragon, or a way to Stardust Synchron. Shuffle back the monster in question and whatever card you might not need. Normally you search Junk Synchron, but in this case I already had it, so we search Effect Mailer instead. Using Stardust Synchron and the Stardust Trail, fittingly enough, we're making Stardust Dragon.
Take flight, Stardust Dragon. Using Stardust Trail, the
Trail will get us our Stardust token, that will now be tributed by Stardust Synchron.
Stardust Synchron activates its effect.
Stardust Synchron grabs your Convergent Wishes. If you get drolled here, whatever. You are normally safe from droll. Using the Stardust Synchron and Stardust Dragon, Crimson Dragon.
Special summoning Crimson Dragon.
Crimson Dragon will grab your Synchro Rumble.
A duelist's job is
Now, Bonds of the Converging Stars will give us our Signer Dragons, and you know what this leads to.
Rev it up to blast through my limitations. The stars unite to brighten the future. Form the Road of Light. Limit over Excel Synchro.
Overtop Clear Mind, Limit over Excel Synchro. You know how this goes. It's time for the evolution of Light itself, the Shooting Quasar Dragon.
The evolution of light, Shooting Quasar Dragon.
Okay, I got a fanboy about this animation here. That specific shot from when Quasar was first summoned, it descending down to blast the Time Lords with the Lightstream Creation Burst, which was the beam, and you can even see our cradle in the top right corner at the start of that if you look closely. So many details! Now, for Crimson Dragon here, you have plenty of options. You can either go into something now, which is either the double Quasar like I do here, or Quasar and Red Supernova in some matchups, or you can wait it out and cheat out Crystal Wing if you want to. But up next, we're going to go for the Junk Synchron play. Using, of course, the Junk Synchron and the Junk Converter, we're doing things as we always have. You know what it's time for. You know what we're back to doing at long last. For the first time in a while, Junk Warrior, let's rev it up!
Appear, Junk Warrior! Junk Warrior gains the attack of my... Using Junk Converter to Synchro Summon activates its effect.
And now at this point the combo breaks again. If you didn't go Crystal Wing at this point, you can opt to do this if you so choose. More often than not, however, you're making Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon.
since I synchro summoned.
That gets you back your formula Synchron, and then start setting your back row. Hold converging wishes. You want that on standby.
It's my turn. I draw. I activate my spell comp. I activate Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon's effect.
I don't know why he opted to tuning there first instead of going for the unrespondable Quasar, but he's gonna get punished for it. Unaffected Stardust Warrior, buddy. Now this is where some cool tech comes into play. We're just gonna block the Quasar cold.
Check out Stardust Warrior's effect. Stardust Trail can activate from my
But since we don't have a Stardust monster on the field anymore, Stardust Trail will cover that.
Sword to power.
Why Black Winged Dragon there? That makes no sense.
I active my tuner monster. Stardust Synchron shooting Quasar Dragon's effect.
We're just gonna block the Converging Wishes search here, buddy. Nice try.
My tuner monster. Stardust Trail can Stardust Trail. Synchro Summon. Take flight. Using Stardust Trail, I discard Effect Veiler from my hand to
And we're just gonna block off the Excel Stardust.
Special summon a monster. Check out Stardust Warriors of.
And since he decides to have nothing left, I don't know why he didn't activate the first skill effect there.
Appear. I end my turn. It's my turn. I draw. I haven't given up on the future. The hopes of the world coalesce into a
Let's style with the big bonk.
I'm not scared. This is the strength of our bond. Attack, Stardust Dragon!
That is how we do. Clearly you were carried by Necro Valley, buddy. I've been doing this since Master Rule 5 started back in 2020, and since shooting Star Road in the context of Duel Links. Do not test me. But next up, we've got Red Dragon Archfiend. Admittedly, going second into this is a little annoying, because you might have to contest a Abyss, Red Nova, Red Supernova, Fiendish Chain, and Fiendish Golem, and a potential Skullmeister.
Jack, I'll show you if you will duel. Don't expect me to Bone Archfiend can activate Bone Archfiend.
But he
I activate Bone Archfiend.
doesn't really get lucky with the end board here.
Activates when it's
I end up opting specifically to just let him combo off and hold the Infirm to board break.
Activates. Here's my tuner monster. Summoning Soul Resonator activates its effect. Allow me to.
So go ahead, do your thing.
Show your. The King of Dark Abyss unleashed. Hot red.
Personally, I don't understand what he was going for here.
Scarred Dragon Archfiend activates its effect. Witness why I am known as my soul. Mountains will crumble as the land is engulfed. Hot red. Hot red Dragon Archfiend veins of. Show your. My tuner monster. Vision! I banish Red Familiar from the graveyard. My Crimson Dragon.
What was the point of that?
Red Rising Dragon. My tuner monster, come to me. I synchro summon.
And then the Centurion Synchro?
My turn. It's
Hello?
my turn. I draw. From my hand.
The Auxilla for like no reason?
Witness the bond. I'll rev it up to blast through my limitations. The evolution. Each card.
So, here's the thing. You might think I go for Junk Synchron here. Actually, no. I had a sneaking feeling. I I don't know what it was, but I just had a sneaking feeling he had either DD Crow or Ghost Bell in Haunted Mansion. The only two hand traps that can actually stop this combo somewhat cold. Knew it. And since I prepared for that, I don't have to worry about it. And he knew about that. He knew I kind of called that out. So, that's JJ. And now, prepare for the most anticlimactic rank up I've had so far. After going on an absolute tear, we're dealing with Winged Dragon of Ra, and I'm going second. This is really good for me. Except for the fact that,
Witness the ultimate.
yeah, just watch.
I'll prove that you won't duel. My game. How dare
Yeah,
you?
dude just scooped right then and there.
Streets taught me everything has value.
But you've seen plenty of what this can do. With an 18 win streak, Crimson Dragon Synchron in King of Games. Man, do I have a lot to talk about, because personally, whoa, I don't know what happened there. I have to reset my phone after this. Anyway, Crimson Dragon Synchron, personally, I think this is the best deck in the format. Maybe not this specific version, like the Necro Valley version is obviously superior, but I don't want to rely on Necro Valley because, personally, I feel like I'd be regressing as a player if I'm relying on, well, a Toxic Floodgate. That's just me. But for me, personally, this is so much fun. This is the Synchron that I have been waiting for so long. Hey, to all you Junk Speeder haters out there who wanted a non-speeder version of the deck, there's one. Anyway, there are so many options. Yes, Red Supernova Dragon didn't come up at all during those specific replays, but it does come up. There are matchups where it does matter, and that's the beauty of it. Every single card in here has a situational use and a situation where it's actually good. And there's plenty of other options too. There's no wrong way to go about this. I've seen Centurion Synchron as well, put it to you that way. Granted, I do think the ban list is going to hit this really, really hard. I will cook when the ban list does go live, well, after the KC Cup coming up eventually, that does actually hit this, and I will see what I can do. I'm ready just in case. I have the 3 Shining Star Dragons. I am all set to go just as a precaution. Not much else to say to that. This version of Synchron, yeah, I can see why people would call it the best deck in the format. It deserves to be considered as such, and honestly, I don't know what to feel. On one hand, I'm really happy for this. On the other hand, I expect this to get absolutely slaughtered next ban list, but we'll see how this goes. I know for a fact I'll find a way to make it survive. But with that, that's all I really have to say. Definitely worth the painful box trips. This is the most amount of fun I've had with Duel Links in forever. You know me, I love me some Synchron. I was hyped for this, and I hope I delivered. With that, until the next video, whatever it might be, later guys.